Hey, what's going on? Today I'm going to go over the 5 strength and conditioning mistakes I made when I first got into working out and lifting, and these mistakes are very common, and you might be making them. And I want to go over them so that you don't make the same mistakes I made. If you enjoy my content, wherever you're seeing this, make sure you subscribe to me if you see this on YouTube, or you follow me if you see this on Instagram. Let's get right into it. So the first one is following bodybuilding programs, specifically very high focusing on very high volume programs. And the issue with this is you end up doing too many sets, and they become quite low quality sets. And what you have to understand is, like, when you follow like a bodybuilder's program, especially those bodybuilding magazines, like, those guys are on a lot of stuff, and they have great genetics. And for you to think that you can follow that program and get similar results, it's just not going to happen. And I had to really. And then sometimes the exercise selections aren't the best, but again, because those guys are such genetic freaks, and again, they're on some drugs, you start to think, hey, that's a great program, but it's really not the best program. If you're a beginner, like I talk about, if you follow me on Instagram, like, talk about this all the time. You need to learn how to move properly. You need to make sure that you have hard sets. Make sure you have proper rest in between exercises, and that's really the foundation of what a good strength training program is going to be. My second big mistake was relying too much on supplements. I got obsessed with this. So I bought all the bodybuilding magazines. If you ever bought like almost any magazine, like half of it's ads. So they had a ton of ads from, I'm not even sure if this company is still around. Was it called Muscle Tech? And I think Jay Cutler, there's a lot of guys that were sponsored, but Jay Cutler, not an Olympia yet, but he was one of the top guys. So, like, they had like a whole stack, and I spent so much. I was 18. I worked at Shaw's for like 36 hours. I spent so much money on supplements, and I didn't really see a huge benefit from it. And a lot of the supplements that I took back then, besides whey protein, like, I wouldn't really recommend. I wouldn't really recommend right now, because for me, I want to get strong and I want to build size. So, like, nutrition and sleep are so more important than any supplements you're going to take. Making sure that you go to bed around 10 p.m., try to get like that 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of quality sleep, and that you focus on quality food. You focus on eating enough protein, eating enough carbohydrates, especially around your workouts. A little tip, if you have trouble eating a lot of food or hitting those calorie markers, is you want to eat food that's easy to consume, which is the opposite when you're trying to lose fat. You want to eat food that's hard to consume. So example is, like, it's very easy to eat a lot, like, say, like white rice. It's a little harder to eat things like sweet potato or like baked potato. Like, it's going to eating a lot of calories from that becomes a little harder. Again, so it could be a good fat loss food, but maybe not the best muscle gain food. And same thing with build muscle, like a chicken breast, a steak might be better for fat loss, because again, it's hard to eat a lot of that food. But when you're trying to eat a lot of calories, like ground beef is your friend. So that's number 2. Number 3 is I want to thank him so much. This my friend Jeremy. I worked at Shaw's with him, and we were trained together. And he really got me into fitness. I feel like I owe much of my life, because my life involves around fitness. But we got to training, so I got into training. I got into it and stuff like that, and we were always trained together. And I remember just being a little aggravated with him, because what he would do a set, and then I feel like he would just bullshit and want to talk to guys for like 3 or 5 minutes, and then before going to the next set, where I was like, hey, I'm trying to work hard, so I was like, hey, I'm going to do the set, and I'm not gonna rest too long, and then go to my next set. Like, I'm not gonna fuck around, right? And because I thought I was training hard like that. But the truth is, if you don't give yourself proper rest intervals, it really limits how strong you can get and how much muscle you can build. And it becomes more like a cardio workout, especially when you think about compound lifts like back squats, deadlifts, bench press. You shouldn't be, if you're going heavy, you shouldn't be just resting for like 45 seconds to a minute. You want to rest for like 2 or 3 minutes. And this guy, Jeremy, that I just talked about, he was super fucking strong. I think he benched over 400 pounds. He deadlifted over 600 pounds. I think he squatted around over 500 pounds. He was a really strong dude. So this guy would lift. He was super strong, and then would rest for 3 minutes. I thought he was being lazy. be an arrogant kid, but he just actually knew how to fucking train. So all this kind of means is make sure that you're taking proper rest in between sets. If you truly want to get strong and build muscle, you have to rest long enough, and you can't do a set for 45 seconds to a minute and expect for you to get really strong, because what happens is either your form is going to start sucking, or you're not going to have as intense sets. You're not going to be able to go as heavy or get as many, or you're not going to be able to get as many reps. And again, that really becomes important. So the fourth mistake I made was I did a bodybuilding split. So I would hit every muscle every week, which works for some people, but especially at the beginning, it's like lifting is a skill. So you need it. When you first lift, you don't have a lot of skill or strength to really go hard. So in order to see gains at first, and so you actually get better at the lifts, you need to train muscle groups more frequently. So I would only train one muscle group per week. Usually like a bro split. But a lot of people, it's going to be beneficial to hit that muscle maybe not once, but like 2, maybe 3 times a week. You can get more, especially at the beginning where you need more practice with the exercises, so you can improve it. Because I talked about before, of strength training is you have to have somewhat decent form, and then you have to go hard. So if you don't really ever take the time to learn the exercises, that's never going to happen, which is why training frequently is going to help. Plus, it gives you more exposure, which is something you kind of need at the beginning, because you can't really push the resistance as much. Now, once you get really strong, you might be able to just get away with training once a week, depending on the muscle group, but most people are going to see a lot of benefits by training more frequently. So nowadays, if I'm doing I usually depends the time of year, I usually do a full body workout, or I do a body part split, like a lower upper. So with a full body split, I'm hitting the same muscle groups 2 or 3 times a week. But I'm only doing like one set. So it's not like a ton of volume, but I'm still hitting frequently. If I'm doing my lower upper split, I'm hitting the lower body twice. I'm hitting the upper body twice. So that's going to really help people get strong, build muscle a lot faster. And like I said, if you're a beginner, it's going to help you learn the move. It's going to help you. It's going to help you learn the move. Going to help you learn the movements a lot better. So the fifth one is pick good exercises. Now, the thing about when you start working out, you follow these bodybuilding programs, or people who already have good movement, who are already strong and build muscle, and you try to do the exercises. And some of the exercises are very technical, and then you end up doing it right. And I banged up my body. So I think about how many years I deadlift improperly, and I probably just banged up my back. It is best to learn the movements with very basic exercises in a stable position, and then later on you can do the more advanced exercises. So an example of this is like one of the first rows I remember doing, it was like a bent over row, which is like probably one of the most technical rows that you can do, because you have to hinge, you have to keep your core tight, you have to keep your back flat while you have weight. It's really a very tough exercise. And how I coach people, how I teach people, I'm going to teach them how to row in a very stable and safe position, and maybe eventually we'll get to that advanced thing. Same thing with the squat. I'm not going to teach someone how to do a back squat, because the back squat is like the king of the squats. Again, it's a more advanced squat variation. If you're a beginner, you should learn how to squat with a dumbbell or a kettlebell or body weight. Same thing with deadlifts. When I'm teaching someone how to hinge right and deadlift, I am not throwing them on a barbell and having them doing a deadlift from the ground. Like, I'm teaching them kettlebell deadlifts first. I'm teaching them how to do an RDL. I'm teaching them how to do a trap bar deadlift after that. Then maybe we'll go sumo deadlift, rack pulls, before we ever really get to that. And the same thing with pressing. Like, I'm going to teach someone how to do a push-up first. I'm not going to put someone do a barbell bench. We're going to do dumbbell presses first, because there's stages to it. It's like it's like you're a baby and you're trying to do jumps before you can even crawl. It just usually leads to like years of not making good gains because you never have decent form. So my last tip would be, make sure you learn exercises with stable an easy exercise to learn, and then later, once you get that movement, you can advance it, because it's all basically the same movement. There's a few tweaks here, but so if you can do a ring row, you can do almost any row once you get advanced at it. So if you can do a ring row, you're going to be able to do a one-arm dumbbell row. A seated row is going to be easy. A bent over row is going to be easy in that position. Same thing for a squat. You get good at like a bodyweight squat or a goblet squat. Then you're going to be able to do like a barbell front squat pretty well. You're probably going to be able to back squat pretty well. And I would say the same thing with the hip hinge pad. If you get strong with doing like dumbbell RDLs, when you do try barbell deadlifts, you're going to be more efficient at them. So that's another thing that I would change. So those are my 5 mistakes. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like, and make sure you subscribe if you see this on YouTube, and make sure you follow me if you see this on Instagram. Thank you so much for watching.